Chris Holtmann, in fact, is joining us right now. Coach Holtmann, Matt McCoy, Dave Metzold with you. Thanks so much for calling. We were just talking about the new office space you have, and I know there's an Evan Turner hallway and all those things. Tell us a little bit about the redesigned Schottenstein Center and how nice it is where you work right now, Coach.
Well, great to be with you again, guys. Appreciate the time, and it's been good. You know, we've I think we had new offices that were those were put. Really, the plans for that have been 2, 3, 4 years in the works, and then as with anything, we've just tried to touch up some areas in the basketball part of the Schottenstein Center, and we've needed to do some things. If you in our business, if you stand pat too long in terms of some renovations, you're going to be desperately behind. And I'm not saying that we always have to be on the cutting edge of everything when it comes to facilities, but you certainly want your guys to feel like they're in a great space. And we've had some really generous donations from Evan Turner and others that have made this hallway possible. And the next phase will be for us to improve our locker room area.
The connection that you have, and I know you had a night just a few weeks ago with former players, how important is that for the program to reach out to former players, the Evan Turners, the guys in the NBA, Mike Conley, on and on and on, to have that connection with him? And how much does that resonate with the kids that are on the team right now and kids you're recruiting?
Well, I think they're such a part of this program. As you know, they are so connected. Our former players do an unbelievable job staying connected to our program and to our current players. And as a coach, why wouldn't you want those guys around your team, right? Mm-hmm. They are, the ones that have come through here that are, whether they're in the NBA or overseas or whether they're in business or medicine or graduate school, they are great representatives, and to have them around and come around, we invite them all the time. They probably are tired of us asking, from Clark Kellogg to Evan Turner to on down the line to David Lighty to Aaron Kraft. We've just have loved having them all a part of what we're doing.
Yeah, and this summer that it really resonated with the basketball tournament when they had the regional at Capitol and those guys were playing. I mean, that place was packed. I mean, that was a lot of fun for Ohio State basketball fans to have that opportunity.
Yeah, I think having it in Columbus was great. There was a great energy around the team, and I think we all were hoping that they could win that whole thing and get rewarded handsomely for it. But it just brought back, I'm sure, a lot of great memories, and it was awesome seeing Coach Mata stop in and the ovation that he got from our great fans. That was really special to see from our perspective as coaches. So it brought back a lot of great memories from a lot of great teams, and they left a significant legacy here, and I think it's a good example for our current players on the kind of legacy that you want to leave.
Visiting with Buckeye basketball coach Chris Holtmann. Media Day. Buckeyes getting set to start practice. Okay, what about, that's the past of Ohio State basketball. What about the future? What do you make of this team you have? Lost a lot of talent from last year's squad, but you got a lot of talent returning. Had the opportunity to see them a little bit in action in Spain, maybe get a little more time with them in addition to the practices that you've had. When I talk about the 2018 Buckeyes, Coach Holtmann, what comes to mind? What do you think you have to get accomplished to have the kind of year that you want to have?
I think, Matt, as much as anything, we have to have the same defensive-minded approach that last year's team had that allowed us to win so many games in critical situations. And we had great length and versatility defensively last year, and that allowed us to really put a good defensive team on the floor. And I think I'm anxious to see if this year's team will embrace that the same way as last year's team did.
Coach, you look at the schedule, and that meeting with Cincinnati jumps out at you, but it's It's not like the old days, Coach, where you used to go through the month of December with just a lot of tune-up games. You got a couple of Big Ten games right away.
Yeah.
How does that impact what you do now in terms of making sure you're ready for a tough month of December right out of the chute?
Well, it's the most challenging schedule we've played. I've coached in for sure. I think given just kind of how the games came about, and some of these games, you don't know before when you put the schedule together. We didn't have no Syracuse until just into the summer. We didn't know about Creighton as well. But ultimately, if anyone's to blame for putting together too hard a schedule, that'd be me. So the blame will fall squarely on me. But I think it's exciting for our fans to see some interesting games, and obviously we'll have Cincinnati this year at their place and then return the following year. So we're excited about that, and it does kind of require you as a coach to get your team more ready for those moments.
The trip you guys took to Spain over the summer, how advantageous was that? And I don't even mean from a basketball standpoint. I mean, you got to play 3 games, but just from a team bonding standpoint. I remember talking to you, Coach, before you went on this trip, and you said that's really what's kind of important. How much did you enjoy being around those guys, and did it help your team come together a little bit?
I think it helped us get to know each other better. I don't know at the end of the day. It's interesting. I've talked to so many coaches, and we don't really know if that translates into anything in terms of success on the floor. I'd like to say that you go on one of those trips and it kind of guarantees you your team's going to be closer, and handle adversity better and more. I think it can help, but the season is such a different animal than those 10 or 11 days. That trip was as much about anything as creating another educational experience for our guys, and to have them enjoy, and for us to learn a little bit more about them as people and as players. And I think it did all those things.
What was the best part of it from your standpoint? Is there anything that jumps out like, man, that was awesome?
We went on a catamaran and jumped off it in the middle of the sea. That was a lot of fun to see your players jump off that thing and kind of swimming in choppy waters. I just think much like anything, kind of the bus rides where you're together and spending time together and heading to the beach a couple times. Those moments are what we reflect back on and enjoy the most. Visiting
with Chris Holtmann, Buckeye basketball coach. Buckeyes are getting set to start practicing. I want to ask you about the 4 freshmen, Luther Muhammad, Dwayne Washington, Justin Arns, Jaden Ledee. What can fans expect out of them? I should throw in your grad transfer also, Keyshawn Woods, some of the newcomers. What do you expect out of this group of newcomers you have?
I think it's probably too early to tell. I do think that the guards that we recruited because, we need them to come in and be able to play and help us. And I expect that those guys are going to be that they're going to be put out on the floor early, Luther and Dwayne in particular, because they know we have some depth issues there that they need to answer. And I think with Justin and Jay, those guys have done some really good things here in the off season, and all 4 of them have. And Keyshawn has been different just because he's played for 3 years and been in college for 4 years, so he has just a different level of maturity and understanding, which hopefully will really help this group.
So our Lori Schmidt is at Media Day and has been, and she texted me a couple of things and said that Kaleb Wesson has promised more dunks this year, and that he's been working out 3 times a day and everything. But talk about Kaleb, because obviously high expectations for him. I know has talked to us before about wanting to transform his body. How is he in that regard? And do you expect a lot out of this kid now that he has 1 year under his belt?
He's done a really good job getting himself in and being more conditioned, and he's still got some ways to go in that area, but he's done a really good job getting himself in better shape. That'll be something that, as I've always said, is a constant struggle and will be for any big guy. but certainly a guy as big as he is. But I'm excited about the growth in his game. He's in a good place right now. Hopefully, he remains healthy. I do think that you're going to see some more kind of diversity to his game this year.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, I'm all for more dunks, more power to him. Let's see more dunks. You're not going to hear any objection on this end.
Hey, I want to ask you. You guys are having, and I know you have to be careful when you talk about recruiting because guys got to sign here in November. But you're having a very successful recruiting season, and we on Football Saturdays our positioning is right on Lane Avenue, and oftentimes I see your guys walking by, and time to time I know you are entertaining recruits. How important is Ohio State football and the atmosphere that you can sell and bring a kid to? How important is that to Ohio State basketball in terms of recruiting, giving a kid that comes to campus an opportunity to see that? How important is that to your success, helping bring guys along and realize what a great place this is?
It helps. There's no question. I think if you embrace it, it can really help. And that's what we've tried to do. It's obviously an incredible environment, and it's a place that has really, when you go to Ohio Stadium, you walk in there and it's an incredible feeling. So I think if it's embraced, it can really help. I don't know that a kid ever chooses a school because of the football program or their environment, but it's a part of the whole picture that you're trying to present on a recruiting weekend, and we try to take full advantage of it, from tailgating to going to the game to walking on the field and all of it.
Okay, last thing before I let you go, Coach. If I asked you to finish this sentence, Ohio State basketball will have a successful year if.
I knew you were going to ask me that. I knew that was coming.
If you win every game, that doesn't count. But
no, I think that I really it's hard to project I think every year you're trying to play in postseason play. Every year you're working as hard as you can to position yourself to play in the postseason. And but I honestly have I've been asked that before, and the way that I have really always answered it is, we'll have a successful year is if you see us play better in, February than we did in November and December and January, and if you see us play better in March than we did in February, if you see growth out of our team and improvement, a team that's more together. I don't know what the ceiling is for this team, and I don't want to cap it, or who knows what the ceiling is for this group. But I do hope that we are continuing to progress and grow and as the season and get better and better.
Coach, I'll give you an easier fill in the blank to wrap this thing up. My favorite part of my newly renovated office is
bathroom.
There we go.
No brainer.
Outstanding. Outstanding.
Thank you for that. That was a toss. That was a tee up right there.
There you go.
Definitely the bathroom. So I heard that. Definitely the bathroom.
Very good, very good. Well, Coach, thanks for taking a few minutes. It's a real treat for us, and again, doors always open for you. We love talking to you. Appreciate it, and good luck as you get started with practices.
Thanks a lot, guys. Great being with you again.